I struggled with food and I didn't know why, but now we're here and we're figuring it out. We're unlearning everything that was so destructive so that we can get better. We're back again. We're doing all right with these videos, being a bit more consistent, even though they might not have a lot of useful information in them. But I've just been doing a lot of study or research, not study. A lot of research on the effects that food has on your body from a young age, and how it changes your body and stuff like that, and what things change it. So I'll be open and 100% honest with you guys. I grew up relatively poor, right? We weren't the richest people. We didn't have the nicest house or clothes, car. We didn't eat the greatest foods either. It is what it is. It was a sign of the times, whatever, I don't know. It is what it is. And I don't blame no one for it. But going back, I've now found why I had more of a chance to put on weight than, say, somebody else. And some of it came down to the food choices. Some of it came down to food insecurity, where you didn't have a lot of food all the time, and when you did, you overate because of fear of not eating again. Some of it comes down to just the way your body reacts to food. Like, some people just are lucky and they can eat anything and everything all of their life and not put on weight. And it is what it is. Like, it's one of those things. It's just the body and the way it works. But for me, was trying to pinpoint where all of this happened for me, so that I could start to unlearn some of these habits, because I've started to see that, not so much now, but before, my habits. And sometimes you have those urges or those temptations to eat the same way. Like, it does come back to you. Like, I've lived like this for over 30 years, you know, so it does come back, and they do try to creep back in to get you to eat the same way. But I'm also a very stubborn person, so I don't change my mind very easy. Once I've made up my mind, it's very hard to shift my mind from that. It's a gift and a curse at the same time. But just small things. So growing up with like a food insecurity causes you to eat more when there is availability of food, because of fear of not eating, because you don't want to go to bed hungry, and so it becomes a thing. Now, what we don't realize is what that does to your body is it puts your body into a survival mode, right? It puts you into flight or fight mode, and so your body then starts to store all that excess food that you've just put into your body. It stores it for energy for later, for calories, so that it can burn it for calories later, because it's your body goes, I don't know when it's going to get food like this again, when we're going to get calories like this again. It's going to store it. Now, when you're a child and you're going to school and stuff, and you're using up all that energy at school, your body is starving for more because it can't keep up with your energy output. And so when you do put in a big amount of food, it just, it stores it. Basically, it just takes it all, it stores it, and it holds it so that it has that energy to burn. It has the energy to keep your body moving. But what it also does is your body creates more fat cells. The bigger you are, the more fat cells we have. Our body's generated more fat cells than, say, just your average Joe Blogs. You know, where our fat cells, or our bodies have a lot more fat cells, which means a lot more fat storage, which means I can get bigger than just your average person. And so when at a young age you're going through all of this, your body adapts in that way, and it starts to do that. I'm just figuring this all out for myself. You know, I'm trying to find what was the root causes, where do I need to change in my mental state, my psychological state, where do I need to refine everything and change the way of thinking, so that, not that I don't go back to that, but so that when I have kids, I don't put that on them. So that when I have children, they don't grow up to struggle with the same things I struggled with because of my lack of knowledge, right? My lack of understanding on how the body works, or how it all plays out and mashes together. But then realizing that eating a certain way from growing up, we ate a lot of takeaways because it was cheaper at the time to feed your family on takeaways, because you got a lot more than going out and doing veggie shopping and eating a well-balanced diet. For $40, you know, you wouldn't get a lot of food to make a well-balanced diet for 7 people, right? Whereas $40 got you enough, even $20, actually, $20 would have got you more than enough takeaways, fish and chips, KFC, to feed our family. That's 2 nights of meals as opposed to 1 night of meals of clean, well-balanced eating. And so that became the norm. Only to grow up with that as kind of like just my main way of eating. It was just normal. It was normal to eat 2 to 3 pies in a week, you know, or 4 meat pies in a week. Like, that was normal. Eat sausage rolls all the time. In fact, some days you'd even eat just 2 pies a day. Some weeks, I should say, sorry. And when pies were, back then, they were only $1, I think. Sausage rolls were 80 cents. A 1.25, I think they were, liter of the imitation sodas or the imitation fizzy drinks. They were $1. 99 cents. You could buy a double pack of big, like, they were pretty big, chocolate-coated Afghans for $1, a double pack. You got $3, man. You got a pie, 2 biscuits, and a 1 liter thing of fizzy drink. You know, that's, growing up as a teenager, I would have gone from being, I don't know, maybe 12 to 13. That was like the life. You're walking around with this big drink. You've just had a pie. You got 2 cookies for later. Like, you know, that was the life. I was living the dream, just not realizing how destructive that actually was for me. And so started to put on weight. And I have always been a big kid. And I wonder why. Or I wondered why. I was always a big kid, always mocked for being fat, always had man boobs, like, always. And that did a lot too, mentally. I can't say that I used food as comfort, because I've never been that person. I've never been the person to take food and use it for comfort. I know that that is a thing, man, and I know that people do that, and I can see how you could use that as well. But for me, I never used it as comfort. I just enjoyed it too much. Like, I can't say that it comforted me or it made me feel a certain way. I just loved pies, the way they tasted. And when I was able to start working and making a bit of money, then I kind of made it like a promise to myself that I was never going to be hungry ever, and I was never going to be short of food. I was always going to have everything that I wanted, all that kind of stuff. You know, the stuff that you make, and the promises you have to yourself. When you get older, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Mine looked a lot different to yours, I can guarantee. I'm always going to have the latest Nikes, I'm always going to wear this, I'm always going to have that, I'm always going to blah, 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 because I never had it growing up, and other kids around me did. I had hand-me-down shoes. The best pair of shoes that I ever had were a pair of Jordans, white leather Jordans. They were like, I had never seen them before. Nobody else ever had them. I got them given to me from an uncle, and they were way too big for me, but I didn't have anything else. And so that was it. That's all I wore, was this one pair of Jordans, and they were like the best shoes in the world. And so, you know, growing up, I was like, nah, that's it. And like, I throw no shade to like my family and stuff like that. Like, they were doing what they could with what they had at the time. And it just sucks that that's what the situation was, but it is what it is. And it gave me some good things too. Like, growing up that way did make me a lot stronger with my siblings and stuff, because we went through the trenches together. They were a lot younger, so they might not remember a lot as I do. And so, like, just the way that affected me and my eating. And then getting older and just not realizing how destructive my eating actually was. And so I continued, because I thought there was nothing wrong with it. Like, what's wrong with someone eating a pie a day? Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with someone drinking so much fizzy drink? What's wrong with having fish and chips 2 to 3 times a week? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. Like, this is how I grew up. There's nothing wrong with eating half a loaf of bread with, you know, some hot chips and just having your bread layered in butter. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That is normal, you know, and that was my normal, only to come to now and realize just the amount of calories and stuff that I was putting into my body, why my fat stores were growing, why I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and why, when I would restrictive diet and then stop, why I got so fat so fast again. And it's a combination of all of that. And because I would stop dieting and I'd go straight back to my old habits of, but there's nothing wrong with having a pie. Like, I'm going to have a pie today, I'm going to have a pie tomorrow, maybe I'm going to have 3 pies today, you know? Maybe I'm going to have a pie, sausage roll, and something else. And just being like, because that is the normal, like, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Only to find that there actually is, you know? And it was quite destructive for me. So now that I'm finally schooling myself on nutrition and how it works, and trying to not just eat better and exercise, but learn why. Like, why is it like this? Why did it work that way? Why does this work better? Why? So that I don't just come out of this skinnier, stronger, feeling good about myself and then go straight back to what I was doing. I'm trying to relearn everything and deal with all the psychological stuff that was ingrained in me for the last 30 something years, and trying to break all of that so that the next 30 something years that I do, that's not even a hindrance in my life anymore. That's no longer even a thought of me in my life anymore. So yeah, just trying to figure all of that out. And it's been good, because in order to get yourself to these places, you have to be 100% honest with yourself. Like, you don't give yourself any kind of leeway. You don't just say, oh no, but it's all right, I'll do a better net. No, you can't do that. You have to be brutally honest. You know, you can answer a question yourself. You can answer it and be satisfied with that answer. But to actually be like, no, you're lying. Like, that's not the truth. You know that that's not the truth. This is actually what it is. And call it for what it is. And actually be brutally honest. I've been doing that with the food side of things. In fact, with a lot of things in life. It's hard, but it's good, because then you can start to uproot these things that were so ingrained into your life for so many years. You can finally get these things out and correct it and put new plants and new trees in so that they may grow, so that you have better fruit. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel real vulnerable when you start to talk about it, because this is stuff that I don't talk to anybody about. I haven't talked to anyone, apart from my wife. I've never talked to anybody about this kind of stuff. Not out of shame or anything like that, but just out of, I don't know, there was just never a need to talk to anyone about it. So yeah, here we are. And on that note, let's go have a workout. Let's go. That was a pretty good workout, actually. That was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. This new workout plan that I'm working off, it's just, everything is kind of planned out better than my last one, put it that way. The exercises in their orders and stuff, it's just, I'm not jumping into the next exercise with those muscles already feeling a little fatigued from the previous exercise, you know. Like the previous compound exercise or something like that, you know. It's not feeling that way. It's actually feeling really good, and I'm kind of going into each exercise with those muscles that I'm trying to work feeling relatively fresh. Like, you're going to get some small amounts of fatigue in the compound movements, because compound movements are attacking more than one muscle. They focus on one, but they recruit others as well. So yeah, my workout's feeling pretty dang good, to be honest. I'm very stoked with that. But anyways, back to my childhood and food. So now I've realized, right, that I picked up or created a lot of habits unconsciously. Didn't realize a lot of bad habits unconsciously, and just thought that it was normal. I remember having a conversation with a family member once about how a potato top pie was all you needed in life because it gave you your vegetables, it gave you your meats, it gave you your carbs, it gave you your protein, and it was all that you needed. But that was the mindset that I was living in as well. Like, but pizza is good for you because it's got like vegetables and it's got this in it. They tell us to eat 5+ a day and it's got all of that in it. And I'm having an apple pie afterwards, so I'm getting fruits, that's fine. But you're not looking at everything else in between. And it's a bad way of thinking. And part of you actually knows that it's not right, but you're just justifying your lifestyle so that you can keep doing what you're doing, you know, like so that you can live in the comfort of, I'm gonna just eat whatever I want. I don't have to be disciplined and I don't have to really focus on cutting things out because I'm not about that life, all that kind of stuff, you know. I'm not going to be restrictive and blah blah blah, only to find that later on in life I kind of needed to, or else the reality of it was I was going to get really sick and possibly die, right? Like, the reality of it was that there was a high chance of me having a heart attack and actually dying, or contracting a fatal disease of some sort, or getting like diabetes, which can be managed if you do things properly, but getting like diabetes and not having the discipline to be able to live with it. You know what I mean? So those bad habits became my lifestyle. Then my mindset around it justified that lifestyle because this is the norm. Like, why should I change anything? I'm happy with myself. If nobody else is, then that's their problem. It's a them problem, not a me problem. And I wasn't being honest with myself. Now that I'm in the position that I'm in, I'm able to be completely 100% honest with myself and call those things out for what they are, you know, and be like, that's why I was stuck way back here. That's why I was stuck in that place. That's why I could never lose weight. That's why this kept happening. That's why I kept putting on weight. And I just have to be real with myself now to get rid of that from my life. Otherwise, this is going to be a battle for the rest of my life. And it is. It's still going to be a battle because essentially what's happened now in my body, right, or in our bodies, when your body goes into like a fight or flight mode, hey, it just lightened up. When it goes into like fight or flight mode, survival mode, right, because of food insecurity, because of scarcity of food or whatever it may be, your body learns to adapt to its surroundings. It learns to adapt to its situation, right? When there's a scarcity of food, what it'll do is it'll put more fat cells, it'll grow more fat cells to be able to store more calories to be able to keep you going, right? Those fat cells never disappear. We have those fat cells for the rest of our life. That's it. So now, the fat cells that I generated when I was a kid, I now have with me for the rest of my life. And whenever my body goes into fight or flight or survival mode, it will store and refill all of those fat cells, and I will bloat back out again, and I'll be huge again. So it's breaking that cycle of my body thinking that it needs to go into fight or flight, that it needs to go into survival mode, and feeding it with a well-balanced diet so that it's constantly fed, so that it's always got its nutritions and everything. It doesn't need to go back. It can start depleting those fat cells. I can start losing weight. I can start losing fat more than weight. Okay, like, I've come to terms that I'm going to probably be anywhere between 125 and 130 kgs for the rest of my life, right? That's just weight. That's not fat. I can be 135 kgs and still 10% fat because you've muscle and all that kind of stuff. Like that's a possibility. Not saying that I could probably get there right now without the help of enhancements, but I'm just saying that is a possibility, right? And so what we do is we focus on giving our body everything it needs and all the most healthiest and well balanced that it can have, less bad fats and more good fats, not a lot of it. Keeping your diet just fully well balanced. You can still go out and eat. Now, this is the cool thing, is that once you're in that well balanced diet and you've got yourself in that zone, then it doesn't matter if you go out for a day or 2 or 3, eat crap food. it doesn't matter, because your body is now well adapted to that your metabolism has sped up, that all that crap food that you've put in, it just spits it out anyway. So it's fine. It's when you go off it for like a month, you're not exercising, you're not doing that, boom, your body just goes back to what it knows, starts storing straight away. So yeah, it's been really good, really interesting, and really tough, because I've had to be real with myself. Nobody else can tell you either. Nobody else can be like, oh, it's because of this, that, and the other, because you're just like, yeah, you're just seeing whatever you want to see. But for me, for it to really hit me and hit home, I had to be real with myself, and I had to be brutally honest. And it's not easy, because I've been so used to defending myself and why I'm big, and all my life, because I've been a fat kid all my life, I've defended it all my life. And the natural reaction when I'm trying to be honest with myself is to defend myself. It's been good. It's been really good, and it's been really hard. Not so much physically, but mentally. It's been really challenging for me, because nobody else can carry this for me. Only I can do this. I have to be the one to make that change. I've been given the tools, I've been shown everything, but only I can change that. I can't expect somebody else to come in and do it for me. I can't expect some miraculous miracle to happen and all of a sudden I'm changed, I'm a new person. I can't expect any of that. I have to get in and do the dirty work. But things are about to change even more so for me as well. Like, I'm about to get a little bit more intense. Oops, stop that. Things are about to get a little bit more intense, as my wife has just jumped back into the gym. Yay, got my buddy back. But she works out in the evenings because work, all that kind of stuff. So she will work out in the evenings. I will still work out in the mornings, because it's just better for me in the morning. I'll smash out all of my weight training during the day, and I'll jump into cardio at night. So I'll weight train during the day, and then when she goes to the gym, I'll just jump on a treadmill the whole time that she's working out, and just step it up a bit, which again means my eating has to change, which then means my calorie intake is going to be higher, because I'm going to be burning a lot more than what I was just weight training. You know what I mean? So more things to work out. Yay! But more learning, which is the main thing. And if you're not learning, you're sitting still. If you're not learning, you're not moving forward, right? And that's the goal, is to keep progressing. If you're not progressing, you're becoming stagnant. And you don't want to be stagnant, because stagnant gets thrown out. That's what you don't want. And keep being open to change, man. Keep being open to it. Otherwise, you're not willing to change, you won't change, nothing will change, things will remain the same forever. And that's it. And if you're happy with that, then that's cool. Then kudos to you, and I support you 100% with that decision. But if you're unhappy, then you need to make that change. And again, I can't do nothing for you. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And that's the hard reality of it. It's not just going to happen. And this could be applied to all aspects of life, like not just exercise, weight. It could be applied to any part of your life. Nobody's going to give it to you on a silver platter. You have to go and get it yourself. You've been given the principles, you've been given the tools to get there, so apply them, use them, do it. But that'll do for now. So until the next video, stay safe, be kind, be challenging to yourself, but don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up over things that can't be changed either. So until the next one, see you guys all later. See you.